Hey guys. Long time no see. Okay, listen, please, forgive me. I'm sorry. Arc Raiders came out. You can blame Jolty, guys, because she's constantly asking me to do raids.
Tell your viewers, what's up?
Man, fuck
Come on,
my
little
viewers,
little
bruh!
intro.
Oh yeah, you're right, okay.
I recorded that.
I was coerced and scripted to say that. Jolty forced me to say that. She is the criminal mastermind behind this entire operation. In fact, I have a clip that will prove to you she's the mastermind behind this operation. Hey bro, don't fucking make Jolty noises while you're speaking in doubles. Now that I have been rid of my guilt and shifted all blame towards Jolty, we can finally move on to the real subject of the video. Conspiracy theories. Ever since I was a young baby lizard, I was into conspiracy theories like nothing else. Even the dumb ones like the earth is flat. Come on people, we've been knowing this since the 3rd century. Come on. I mean, like, everyone knows the earth is actually square. Anyways, I'm here to talk about the conspiracy theories that I really enjoy. And I'm talking about the niche ones, maybe ones that are less popular. Not talking about the ones that everyone knows.
9/11 was an inside job.
However, the first one I want to talk about is a little less niche and more trendy. It gained a bit of news coverage around 2024, at least here in the United States, in the great state of Florida, where I live. And it also happened in very close proximity to where I used to live, in a city that some of you may know as Miami. I have spent a good portion of my life living in this city with nothing but good memories. The only thing I really hate about this city is the traffic. So you can imagine my surprise when I turned on the news and saw this
picture to show you that massive police presence that was here where we are now in the last hour or so. You will see a lot of police units that responded to this, and what transpired after that were juveniles being pushed west.
So the official story that was told 3 days after the incident had aired was that there was apparent gunshots that were heard, and that's what caused the massive police response. In the end, it turned out to be just juveniles, kids playing with fireworks. Right away, something smelled fishy. Instantly, a citywide emergency was enacted, meaning all available police officers in the city had to show up, which in this case is a reasonable response when in this case there was shootings being heard in the mall. However, people were very quick to point out that there was a severe lack of ambulances and fire trucks, which are, things that are supposed to be there when there's a citywide emergency. However, I don't know how true that is because I did barely any research on that actual claim of a lack of ambulances and fire trucks. I just thought that was kind of interesting when I heard about it. The next morning there came dozens of claims that people had seen giant shadowy figures walking around in the mall. Along with these claims, people also mentioned a strange group of men standing around outside near the police officers, grabbing people's phones and deleting things. Whether that was true, I don't know. I couldn't find much about it other than people just saying it. If you don't get what I'm putting down, basically people speculated it was like an alien breakout and police are trying to cover it up, and there had been agents from the government that showed up trying to get rid of all proof. Whether you believe this to be true or not does not matter. I live and breathe for these type of things. I love speculation. I love the rumors. I love the mystery. And most importantly, fuck the government. They're hiding shit. And if you don't believe me on how easy it is for a government to manipulate you, let me point you to the Stasi. In 1939, Germany did a little oopsie poopsie and accidentally invaded most of Europe. And I get it, it happens to the best of us, right, Napoleon? Anyways, the Europeans didn't like being invaded, so they invaded back and molested the German peoples. That's what they get for thinking that they could invade Russia. Ain't that right, Napoleon? Well, in the aftermath of this war, Germany was split into two, West Germany and East Germany. And then we're not going to talk about the politics of Berlin, but anyways, the Communist Party of East Germany installed a secret police called the Stasi. And these guys were professional gaslighters. I'm talking about they would send an agent to go flirt with your wife so your marriage could get ruined. That's the type of shit they were on. By the time the Stasi dissolved in 1990, it was revealed that 1/3 of the population were either informants or agents. It was so bad that after the dissolution of the organization, people found out that friends they had for 20 plus years were actually informants sent to spy and gather intel of that person. While I'm not going to go into further detail about this, I just wanted to give you a clear picture of what governments are capable of doing. It is very, very easy to make you believe something. And to further solidify my point, I lied to you about something in this video. Good luck trying to figure out what it was. So, when your government tells you something, don't always believe it. Especially when they're adamant about telling you something doesn't exist, which very clearly exists. But sometimes there comes a story that is so strange and so unexplainable that it cannot be written off by the government. And that leads me to the story of Luis Sergio Pucheta. Luis was a policeman in Argentina, and in March 2006, the 31-year-old was found patrolling at 7:30 p.m. That night he had covered 80 kilometers until he made a stop at a place called El Cruce de las Cañas. Here Luis states that he had seen glowing at the nearby tree line, believing it to be poachers. So Luis parks his motorcycle and goes to investigate what the glowing is. A few minutes later, one of Luis's co-workers, Marcelo Villegas, gets a phone call from Luis on the other side saying, "Come to Las Cañas, you know what's happening." Marcelo did in fact not know what was happening and reported the incident to the emergencies since it was his day off. Within 10 minutes, the police were on scene. Police find a very unexplainable and strange scene. The first thing they find is a radio and pistol disassembled completely on the ground, and Luis is nowhere to be found. Instantly, police follow the trail of footprints that they find on scene. However, police on scene report that these footprints started gaining distance between each step, even upwards to 7 meters, which is 22 feet. This basically means that either he was jumping very, very far, or something was lifting him. And that something, mind you, left no other footprints because the only footprints that were found were of Luis's. But unfortunately around 2 a.m. a rainstorm hits the area, washing away most of the footprints and making it completely difficult for the police to find any more trail. And with no trail, the police's hopes of finding Luis were growing dimmer and dimmer. However, hours later at 4 p.m. police receive a call from a landowner claiming that they had just seen him sitting on a dirt road. The place that they had claimed to see him was a place called El Triángulo, which was 30 kilometers away, which in American terms 18 miles. When police arrived on scene, they said Luis was inconsolable, with his head tucked between his arms and his legs. After being able to regain composure, he apparently looked at the commissioner inspector, his superior, and broke into tears. After being able to regain his composure again, the authorities took him to the medical center. There, they found even crazier shit. Number one, he had burns on his feet. He also had photosensitivity, meaning light was causing him intense pain. Lastly, he had not eaten a single thing or drank anything for the last 18 hours, yet his body was not showing any signs of dehydration. Also, authorities wanted to mention that his clothes were completely dry in an area where a heavy rainstorm had just happened 2 hours prior to him being found. Now, this could be easily explained with just going inside of a building, but I just thought that was an interesting little thing. Alright, anyways, I bet you're wondering exactly what Luis says after the whole incident. Well, here's him recounting exactly what happened. When he arrived to the glowing in the woods that he saw earlier, a pair of flying red lights suddenly paralyzed him. In his paralyzed state, he said that he reached for his radio and his pistol and disassembled both of them, dropping them on the floor without his consent. Afterwards, he said that he felt a tingling sensation running through his body, and that was when he was suddenly lifted into the air and pushed forward. But sadly, Luis cannot remember anything else past this moment. He just remembers the feeling of reliving his life, almost in a flash, and then suddenly being popped there in El Triángulo, where he was found. Alright, well, that was basically all I could find about this story. I don't know what you think about it, but I know what I think about it. And what I think about it is, Jeffrey Epstein did not commit suicide.